January 27th, 2025, Keokuk police responded to a report of an unresponsive infant that was found headfirst into a trash can. That child later died on February 5th, 2025, and the cause of death was asphyxiation. A lot of people are trying to determine if this was a really bad accident or criminal negligence. Well, Jaylee Bush just pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter and child endangerment. After reading through all of the details, I think that the most important part of all of this isn't what people are actually focused on. I have all my facts right here for you. Let's go. Emergency responders were called to a home in Keokuk, Iowa after an infant was found unresponsive. According to the court records, the baby's mother, 28-year-old Jaylee Bush, told investigators that she had fallen asleep with the child and later woke up to find the infant head first into a trash can. As you already know, the infant unfortunately died of asphyxia. That's the headline that most people have seen, but I think it really overshadows a couple of the facts that the investigators were really kind of focusing on. For over a year, locals were watching this case wondering what the charges would be because she wasn't immediately charged with murder. And that's when the conversation really starts to get interesting. Because recently Bush just pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter and child endangerment. What does that really mean? Involuntary manslaughter is not always about the intent. It's about the actions or decisions to create a foreseeable risk and ultimately lead to someone's death. In other words, the prosecutors were ultimately just trying to say that the mother didn't intend on the child passing. According to investigators, one of the biggest factors was impairment. Impairment wasn't in the headlines. Let's go on. Court records indicate that they found meth and benzos in her system. That detail is getting very buried because once impairment starts to come into the conversation, people start asking different questions. Questions like, was she able to respond to an emergency? Did the impairment prevent her from being fully present in the moment? Another thing that stands out to me specifically is just how long the investigation took. The child died like a month later, February 5th of 2025, and the investigation kept going, which tells me that the investigators were really trying to get a full picture before just placing on charges. Autopsy findings, toxicology reports, witness statements, expert opinions. This wasn't a case where the authorities were coming out saying immediately that they had all the facts. But the legal system had a huge question to answer. Did reckless behavior just cross the line into criminal responsibility? I think that's the question that society, especially a jury, struggles with all the time. Most people generally understand that accidents happen, but most people also can agree that children deserve protection. And I think the difficult part is trying to draw that line between tragedy and accountability. For me anyways, the biggest takeaway isn't the trash can. Her guilty plea kind of feels like she's admitting criminal responsibility. Either the other side had enough evidence to really prove beyond a reasonable doubt, but if you're not guilty, then shouldn't you have enough evidence to kind of prove your innocence? What facts did you just not want to go to trial? And it's almost like the entire case stems around responsibility. You're not really trying to determine whether something terrible happened because it's really obvious that something terrible did happen. Personally, I think the questions is were the circumstances leading up to this preventable? There's one less child on this earth that can grow up into a beautiful adult. Families' lives were permanently changed. Our community has spent over a year trying to figure out how something like this could happen. So I'm interested. What do you think? When does a tragic accident become a crime?